Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Cocktail Hour. I am Meg.
And I'm Nikki, and we want to welcome you to our very first mini mentorship with Mickey.
I'm super excited because today we're going over client consultations, which I know in previous episodes we've talked lightly about things here and there, but truly I did not hold back on some of my advice. Actually, as I was typing it, I was getting a little riled up. I felt like I was fighting with Adam or something. Because I was typing things.
Let me hold back.
I was like, do not, like in all caps. So what we're going to do here for these episodes during the midweek is we are changing it from like, oh, these cute little lists to, hey, you guys have questions about the process, you know, everything that we do from a wedding photography standpoint, and we're going to cover it. But can I also say really quick that community over competition, we talk about that all the time.
Yes.
These episodes are not to just be like, here's the answers to 100% of your problems.
No.
Because you have to find what works best for you. We're here to provide guidance. But if I'm not telling you exactly like, oh, here's the questions I ask couples, that's not because I'm trying to fuck with you. It's because I've asked that question because of that's what interests me as a person. Right. So I can talk about it. Like, you have to find your own groove, but we do want to give you a little bit of a blueprint. So that's where we're going to kick off. So the first one is, this is all very hard to fake. I just want to like call that out. So if you're not good talking to strangers, you got to work on that. You have to practice. If you're not good at explaining your style, whether that be shooting and editing, again, you have to practice these things. None of this I feel like is going to help if you get completely clammed up on a call with people. How do you feel? Like, do you feel you go into calls with strangers just like, yeah, it is what it is?
Yeah, but I also think that kind of touches to a personality point. And I think that a lot of the times in this industry, you will find that most photographers do have more of an extroverted, like personable personality because you have to. And I think that those are the photographers who are going to be the ones getting the most bookings or who are getting the consultation calls going and then getting the bookings from their calls because you are having the ability to remain personable. And if you don't have that, I don't think it's something that you can necessarily I think you're born with it or you're not. Either you have that personality that can connect with others easily or you don't. And I think it's really difficult for those who don't have that. But some things that I thought about while reading this was like, if you struggle in that area, and this is going to sound crazy, go to ChatGPT and ask for help of how to come across as more personable. Now, I know you're talking to a fucking robot. You could also ask a therapist or something. But I do think that it is helpful to even just like get a dialogue that might help you feel more comfortable that you can roll into when a call comes around and keep it consistent across the board with all of your clients and really lean into that so that you find comfortability and then that allows them to feel more comfortable too.
Agreed. Even if that means literally practicing it out loud.
Yeah.
You know what I did the other day real quick?
Get a script.
That you would have loved. I almost sent it to you. Was something came across my TikTok where it's like reading off a teleprompter and it's a movie, like it's a dialogue or a monologue for a movie. And you essentially are giving this monologue as if you are the character. And I did it as if I was the character. And you and I have talked about this before where I went, I could be an actress.
No, literally.
100%.
Give me an Emmy.
If I could memorize that,
I could be an
give
actress.
you
like
the performance of a lifetime.
Red carpets, here we come.
Okay. Get a process so that the client can easily tell you they want to talk more. Do not just assume that they know how to move the booking forward.
That is crazy. That I think anybody who assumes that is honestly either very new in the process. And okay, truthfully, a lot of the things that we learn and give advice on are things that we have learned by trial and error.
Yes.
And so there are things that, yes, very early on, did I have to learn the hard way about specific things? Sure. But now that I know that, I would never leave it in my client's court or potential client's court to say like, okay, well, let me know.
Let me know.
No.
Yeah.
I will circle back with you if I have to and just say like, hey, I know you received this information from me. If you're available for a call, please let me know. I'm available X, Y, and Z date at this time. If you're interested in that, let's move forward and hop on a call. Yeah. I don't have time either to just leave it up to somebody else and to be like, hey, let me hear back from you.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is if in your email you get an inquiry, then you email the investment guide and then you're just waiting on it. I'm like, well, in the email, did you say to them, like, if you are interested in booking, let me know? Even that, HoneyBook has a feature that I love using where they have to answer questions in the investment guide and submit it back to me. Yeah. That way I know that they've looked at the information because they have to mark which package are you interested in talking about.
Right.
And it also then sets me up for success because I know what am I going in expecting this couple is wanting to talk about. And I just think finding those not like processes, but finding those things that your systems can do to make your life easier, you want to leverage those as much as possible.
Agreed.
Okay, send over, and you actually just said this, send over availability avoid saying things like when works good for you and not providing them any options. The couple probably doesn't know how long the call is going to need to be. So saying something like, the call is on average, 45 minutes. I have some availability listed below. Let me know if any of them work for you best. And now also give them kind of an out. Hey, if any of these don't work, let me know. I'll send over.
I always say that. Yeah. I say if any of these dates do not work for you, please let me know, or shoot back some days that work for you, and I will see if I'm available. Because if I'm sending you over 5 days and none of them work, but you have 2 other days that could potentially work for you, send them back. I don't want to play ping pong back and forth via email either. Like, if you have stuff that works for you, I'm going to ask you, hey, what are some days that are available for you? And I want to hear from you. Yeah. And that also gives them a prompt of responding. It doesn't leave it open for them to just be like, well, she's not available. I'm not available these days. It gives them a prompt. You're prompting them with a question that they then need to respond to in order for the ball to move forward.
Yeah. If I saw an email chain that went like, hey, when works good for you for a consultation, and they send you 2 days and then you go, oh, I'm not available on those. What else works for you? I'd drive myself into the Mississippi. I'd be like, you are losing this client.
I would delete the emails.
Yeah, so quickly.
I'm not booking you.
And also to pile on top of that, send dates that are somewhat soon. Try to get a call scheduled that week because nothing loses momentum more than a consultation 3 weeks after.
Literally.
Typically, if the couple's getting back to you saying they want to have a call, they're ready to book. Like and maybe not with you, but they're ready to book someone. Yep. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having these calls.
They're in the process of booking their vendors. So make sure you stand out and make sure, not even just stand out, make sure you're communicating effectively and appropriately so that they feel comfortable in your process.
Yeah. And that's the other thing we've talked a lot about, that is couples comfortability and confidence that you can run shit and don't need to be handheld. That starts with the consultation, setting that up. And actually that starts with you responding to their inquiry.
Agreed.
And goes from there. You are showing them how you're going to act on a wedding day just on those early, experiences.
That early communication.
I'll let you go with the next one.
If there will be a planner on, talk to them ahead of time to see if they like the call ran a very specific way, which I agree with. Yeah. Are you leading the charge or are they leading the charge? Are you doing the intro? Are they doing the intro? Are you, how is this going? Especially if it's a planner who's done many, many calls themselves and they have a specific way of doing it. It is helpful to know beforehand so you're not just jumping into something without knowing what to expect.
Yeah. All planners are very different. And that's not to say that you don't have your own flow for when it is your part of the call. But some planners like to do a kickoff and do the intro and then kind of talk about the details of the wedding and the couple, and then they'll throw it over to you. Some planners are like, hey, I am purely ornamental.
Yeah. I'm a fly on the wall.
Yeah, fly on the wall. I just like to be able to ask questions as they might arise that the couple doesn't know to ask. So you want to make sure, also on that, if a planner is wanting to join, never push back on that.
Never.
That is good for you. It is good. Like, it does not mean they don't trust you. That means the planner is highly involved in this day.
Yes. And
that's
you should
good.
be more excited about that than
seriously. Not. Absolutely. That means this is a full plan and design. This wedding planner is very invested in the couple's day, who they're working with, and that just behooves everybody. Familiarize yourself with the file. Dates, locations, notes on their inquiry, review the mood board if you have it. You're getting, ideally, you're getting a good chunk of inquiries. You don't want to hop on the call and be like, okay, wait, what was this date again that you're requesting? I want you to know not only the date, is it a Friday, Saturday? Like, that way if they ask, do you have a wedding before?
Like you said, to the mood board.
Yeah.
Like, that means so much to a person to feel like you are investing your time and energy into what they're investing their time and energy into, because they're putting their whole fucking badussy into this.
Badussy.
And if you're hopping on and you're like, so what's your color scheme?
Yeah.
Or what's this? When they've written in their inquiry that they love butter yellow and they're incorporating different tones of blue and hues here, and they want it to feel like Martha Stewart's backyard. That's what I want to talk about because that's what you're excited about. So let me get excited about it. Now, I will say, did I have a client or a booking, which it was in Wisconsin, an inquiry. Sorry. Who the fuck am I? An inquiry. It was in Wisconsin at a venue called the Commodore in Wisconsin. I confused and had to ask on the call, like, there's a Commodore here in Minneapolis where I have shot for you before. Yeah. My very first time shooting for you. And that was a whole fucking debacle.
That was
a whole thing. We'll have to talk about that on a
We
different
were different
episode.
humans back then.
We were completely different.
That's crazy.
But she then had to clarify. And I felt so bad that in my follow-up email then, I was like, I am so sorry. The call went great. It went swimmingly after that. It was, amazing. We spoke about everything. But after that, I felt like such an asshole for being like, shit, I read that and then completely forgot about it. Even though I have the notes pulled up on our call and I'm looking at them, I still asked that clarifying question when I should have gone into that knowing that it was not that one.
Yeah.
No,
I get that.
But it happens.
It happens. Yeah.
You live and you learn.
That's, I think, something that a couple would be understanding about. Yeah. But as a wedding professional, we still are going to be hard on ourselves. But even things like, make sure you know if it's a Saturday wedding, do you have a Friday wedding before? Because what if they ask about rehearsal dinner? And then you're like, wait, let me go pull up my calendar and see if I'm available. Like things like that, just have a better, really go into it acting as if this is already my client and I know everything about this day, and just have that confidence for sure.
Having an overall flow and steps of the call that you can follow, but amend based on conversations or questions that the couple has.
Yeah. Again, this is where community, I'm not going to give you my exact flow. I've worked very hard on it of what I want this to look like. And I still adjust it. Like if you and I are on the call and it's not just me, or if a planner's on the call, like I'm adjusting it in the moment. But you've heard a few of my calls. I have a pretty good structure for what I like, what I feel like flows for myself and works well with the couple. I have questions that I like to ask them to get things moving and to get them chatting up. And I just think it's important that you have that so you know when to key to yourself. Next transition, next topic.
And this plays into being a wedding professional as a whole, because you will adopt that system of how you flow in a consult call to how you flow during an engagement session, to how you flow during a rehearsal dinner, to how you flow on a wedding day. And then it becomes so not routine in a way that it feels copy and paste or repetitive for a couple, but routine in a way for you as the professional to feel like you have conquered this and can do it so consistently without it being, something that you fumble.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so important.
Agreed.
So, agreed.
This is where I got aggressive just typing this on my own. Do not, and I repeat, do not just ask, what questions do you have to start the conversation?
I would leave. I would leave the chat.
I would leave the chat. And I don't say that dramatically.
I don't either.
I'd be like, no.
What do you mean? What questions do I have? Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? Tell me what the fuck you have to offer as my wedding vendor professional.
There is time for you to ask that later in the call.
100%.
Hey, here's the information I'm provided. Like, okay, based on all of that, what questions do you got? What do you got for me?
And one thing I usually say is like, I know this is a lot of information coming at you. So let me stop really quickly and just circle back to like, do you have any questions based on the information that I just gave you?
Yep.
But starting out with what questions do you have for me is diabolical. Yeah. And disrespectful, to be completely honest.
Absolutely disrespectful.
So
this
dumb.
is probably the couple's first time getting married. So maybe just act like the expert in your field and go from there.
People don't know what they don't know. Like, I would never know even the steps of like how to change a fucking tire. Yeah. I'm not Shane Gillison Tires. Yeah. I don't know how to do that shit.
So imagine you go to Shane Gillison Tires and say, and he goes, okay, what questions do you have for me?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah. Start from the top.
Hello. Always assume that you are your potential client's first call. Always assume that you are the first face that they are meeting and speaking with in the booking process when it comes to their wedding.
Agreed.
Don't ever assume that they know anything. Introduce yourself and provide the reason for the call. Always.
I know I said I wasn't going to go over the flow, but to me, that's a very common sense.
Of course.
When you're opening the call, introduce yourself. You're just meeting these people for the first time. Like, hey, I'm Meg. I know we've talked, maybe we've DM'd on Instagram or whatever. We've emailed a little bit, and provide the reason for the call. And I know maybe that sounds stupid, but something along the lines of like, I know we're going to talk wedding photography. We're going to talk, X, Y, Z. My goal is really to get a good idea of what your needs are, or like just a little objective of the call. And I understand that might sound very corporate, but it works. It gives you a moment to like get your voice out there. It'll give you a way to transition into the next thing. I would feel so weird if I just hopped on the call and said, okay, so photography, la 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 la. Like, it's aggressive.
Beyond being a photographer, you're a person, and somebody, yes, is hiring you for the scope of work that you do, but they're also hiring you based off of your personality and who you are.
Yes.
So make sure that you are being as personable as possible and not just expecting people to, want to lick your ass because you take cute pics.
Right. Sorry if there's just a big boom. Opie's head he just loves to be as ridiculous as possible. I don't know who went last, so I'll just hop in. Start by getting to know them. And there are different ways to do this. And this is what I talked about earlier there's different questions you can ask people. Yep. Ask something that will also be an easy topic for you to chat about.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
If you're asking them about work, or you ask them about their location, or this, that, and the other, what do they like to do? I don't know. Like, just make sure that you can riff on whatever you're asking them. Because if I were to be like, what's your favorite element on the periodic table? Like,
I don't know shit about that.
What? Not only do they not know, I don't know. And it's a dumbass question. Like, try to make it relevant, try to make it personable, but
keep it lighthearted.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a serious question.
Yeah.
How long have you been dating?
No, literally.
How long have you guys been together?
What was your worst fight as a couple?
Literally.
But I think it's important that before you get into wedding chat, do try to get to know them a little bit. And I know this has nothing to do with the call itself, but maybe in your inquiry form, a lot of complaints I see from couples on social media is like, why am I filling out my life story on an inquiry form?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just give me the information so I know if this is going to work for my budget. And I do think that's important as wedding vendors that we get a little bit more realistic on the call. Ask them some of these questions. How'd they meet? La, 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 la. But you don't necessarily need all that information on an inquiry form. I don't care. You met on Hinge. Why does that have anything to do with the investment guide I'm going to send you over?
Or the fact that you're getting married.
Yeah.
Everybody's meeting on Hinge these days. Who fucking cares?
Exactly.
Go into your flow. Don't assume the couple knows anything, which we kind of just talked about. That sounds crazy, but it is true. Talk about your style, shooting and editing style, and how does that fit into what they need for their vendors. Talk about pricing, open it up for questions, which we kind of covered a lot of that.
That's like straight up my flow. I totally gave that away. And that is what I go over. Again, I'm not going to give specifics, but that's really the flow. You should be able to talk to what you bring to the table. What is the couple looking for? The pricing, you got to talk about pricing, the thing that no one wants to chat about, and then ask what questions you got. Try to make sure that you're leaving room for them to also chat and for you to chat. Like, you don't want to be talking the entire call, and I promise they don't want to be talking the entire call. Like, try to find a good middle ground.
A good balance.
Yeah. Okay, you need this one I'm so passionate about. You need to be the one to wrap up the call if there's no questions, and you need to proactively talk about next steps. Tell the couple your expectations for you and for them. Something like, I'll send over a proposal. If you do want to move forward with booking, send it back. XYZ, contract needs to be signed, deposit needs to be made. Never put the couple in a position to say, okay, how do we book, or what are the next steps? This really does go for the whole call, in my opinion. Try to always answer questions before they're having to ask them. And I know we talked about not talking too much, but the couple will appreciate you being proactive and confident, giving them information.
100%. It goes back to like, assume they know nothing. Assume you are their first vendor that they are meeting face to face over a call, and they don't know how to actually do anything the same way that I don't know how to change a tire. Yeah. I wouldn't know if a tire was put on correctly or was finished or was drivable on a car unless somebody told me.
I'm just picturing you driving this car with tires.
No, literally. Like, unless somebody told me that it was ready to go and how to move forward. And that goes the same for your clients. Like, never assume they know literally anything. They're little bebés.
And I like what you said about assume that this is their first call, but also assume they're going to have 2 more after 100%. You. How have you stood out compared to those additional calls? Especially if they're photographers who are very similar in shooting and editing style. Yep. How are you standing out on these calls? Because the work is not always going to do it. Your work looks similar. You charge $1,000 more than the next guy. How are you standing out to these people?
Actually do what you said in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you say you're sending a proposal tomorrow, send the proposal tomorrow or within 24 to 48 hours. Make sure it's within that time frame so that they have confidence in you if they are wanting to move forward with you. That I just feel like that makes people feel so much more confident in your ability as a professional, and you are standing out as an expert in what you're talking about.
100%. That impression, you keep having ability to give them a better and better impression of you, or a worse and worse impression of you.
Yep.
The last one is the follow-ups. Some people are like, if they want to book, they will book. Do you know how busy life gets?
Yep.
Fucking busy. So here's my thought process. You send a proposal contract, they haven't gotten back to you in a week. Do a quick follow-up. Hey, I know life gets busy. I know you might have been talking to other photographers. Let me know, and give them a date. Say the proposal and contract is expiring on this date. Yep. If you need additional time, if there's like extenuating circumstances, let me know. But if not, I hope everything's going well in wedding planning, sending you all the good vibes.
God bless. Goodbye.
God bless. The last thing with the follow-up though is if a week later or whatever the time frame is that you're comfortable with, they have not responded to you, but you can see, at least in Honeybook, that they've opened your emails, go ahead, expire the file. Yep. That's key. Expire the file so they cannot just like go, oh, nope, and then click and sign it.
Yep.
Expire the file, email them and just say like, hey, I haven't heard back from you. I hope everything's good. At this time, your file has expired. I wish you nothing but the best. In the future, if you do inquire again, the packages and pricing may have changed. Hope you have a good rest of your week or whatever the case may be. Stand by that. It's okay. And then don't go on Instagram and TikTok making videos and posts about being ghosted.
Yep.
Please avoid doing that. My thought process is if the couple ghosted me, one less thing I got to worry about. Like, okay, you didn't want to talk to me. That's okay.
Sounds good.
I'm going to archive the file.
I'll circle back with you if I don't hear from you.
Yeah.
Wishing you
the
absolute best and archiving you.
It wasn't a good match.
Leaving the date open for somebody who truly would like it.
Yeah, who's going to jump at it.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't always happen, but had an inquiry on a Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, we had a consultation. By Wednesday afternoon, contract, proposal signed, deposit paid.
Done.
Couldn't be more obsessed with me. And I'm like, cool. So I'm not going to chase someone down.
I'm not wasting time on you hoes.
No.
Just kidding.
Look at that. That mentorship mini was nice and concise.
And quite literally perfect. So get used to these mentorship minis with Mickey, because this is how we like to flow. Yeah. And you're getting so much. God, you guys, we should be charging for this shit.
Patreon.
You're getting so much information from 2 people who, like I said at the beginning, have learned from trial and error and have taken a lot of years to see like what does work and what clients like and appreciate and don't.
Agreed. Thanks for joining this cocktail hour. Don't forget to cocktail half hour, and don't forget to subscribe, review the pod wherever you listen.
Follow us on Instagram at cocktailhour.podcast, and make sure you click the link in the bio to submit any mentorship or educational questions, because we will be here to answer them. And tune in on Friday for the full episode.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.